there was no way that our calculator could do mixed numbers in them. However, there's been an update that I wasn't aware of, and one of my students in my, I think it was my 3B class, showed me how to do this. So I'm going to show you all how to do this on your calculators really quickly. So going to our calculators, move this out of the way. You can't see that. It's really not bad. I'm kind of getting the hang of it. So we learned that the most important thing that we do when we're dealing with fractions is what? We have to remember to put them in parentheses. Okay, so when we did that, okay, so when you're using these calculators, and again, Justice, are you on the screen?
Oh, I'm sorry. No, so I'm thinking I'll also kind of have to put hobbies at favorite.
Okay, I need you to focus on what I'm doing, okay? When you're dealing with these calculators, if you look at all the buttons on the calculator, over each button are words that are in blue and words that are in green. Do y'all see those on your keys? Okay.
No.
All right, so do you see how on each button, though, like every single button, there's words that are in blue and green? Okay, well, in order to access those settings in there, you have to either hit the blue button or the green button first. For example, down here on the on button to turn on your calculator,
How do I get there?
it's in your Google Classroom, sweetie.
Well, I'm not Google Classroom, but I don't.
Justice, I went over this at the beginning. Go down to resources.
Oh, yes, I was in class.
Okay, do you see why it's important to follow along? Okay, are you on your calculator?
Calculator down. No, I'm not. As it comes.
All right, we good? Do you have it up?
As it comes, so now I just go to Chrome.
You just click on Launch App once you hit Add to Chrome.
Got it.
Okay, so for example, if I wanted to turn my calculator off, if you look right above the on button, it says off in blue. So if I wanted to turn it off, I would hit this blue button up here and then I would hit off. Okay, but obviously that's not going to work on your computer, but if you had one in your hand, that's how you would turn it off. Okay, so putting my parentheses in, we're going to hit the alpha. All right, and you can see alpha it brings up an A. That's the green button up here. And then we're going to go up here to the Y equals. It's at the very top of your calculator, and that's going to access that F1 setting. And you should be brought to a screen that looks like this. Okay, does everyone's screen look like this? Okay, so I'm going to explain what all of these mean. So this is like all of the different fractions. You can see fraction down here is the tab that's open. Okay, so that means numerator and denominator. Okay, which is the first fraction we're doing. So we're just going to hit enter. Okay, and now it brings up two little boxes like it would if it were a fraction. Okay, so we're going to type in the fraction that was from our question. It was 121. All right, and then I'm going to use my arrow down key to get to my denominator. Okay, now what you're going to want to do then we know to put our parentheses, but if I just click parentheses, it's going to end up in my denominator. Okay, so I need to arrow back, delete, okay, and I just need to arrow over until I'm on the outside of my fraction. Okay, and then I can close. All right, does everyone's fraction look like this? You hit the arrow out to get on the outside of the fraction and then close it. Okay, so we're going to do that divided by. All right, we're going to do another parentheses. All right, and who remembers what I clicked to get to that little setting page? Alpha y equals. Okay, so now if you look on the second one, it has the numerator and denominator, but it has this capital letter in front of it. That's used to show you that it's going to look like a mixed number. Okay, So if you hit 2, it looks like a mixed number now, right? So now you can type in -1, and then you just use your arrows to kind of guide you through the fraction.
What was the actual problem?
-1 and 3/8.
Hey.
Good job. And you close the parentheses.
Close.
Yeah.
Okay, so then we're gonna do, so we're gonna do, whoops, 3/8, close parenthesis, and then you should have gotten -44. Okay, I'm gonna give you another question to practice doing those settings again before we move on to the next thing.
Completely forgot everything you said. No.
Okay, so here, I want to actually say something about that. So what I noticed a lot last year with my algebra students is that they did not really have a good understanding of how to take good math notes, okay? So if I were to do this problem right here, and we just got the answer was -44, okay? You can come back to this in a month, and we didn't show any work on it because we didn't do any of it on paper. We did it all in our calculator. Okay. Well, if you want to remember how to do it, you need to make your own notes of how we did those steps. So I would add a little note on your paper.
Why'd you do the -1?
What?
The negative sign is below the 3.
No, I mean like a whole note. How'd you do the whole note?
The whole what?
The whole number. Okay, I'll show you in just a second. So how,
I just erased it all.
I did that too.
all right, so it says how to do fractions, mixed numbers in your calculator. All right, and these are your own notes. So if you know to shorten words and, make little, like I changed that to calc instead of calculator, number sign. I usually do frac instead of fractions, okay? These are your own personal notes, okay? So because we did all of this in our calculator, I'm gonna write all the buttons that we used to do it, okay? So the first button we hit was alpha. Okay, then what did we hit?
Y.
We hit y equals.
Then you type in your numbers, use arrows.
Oh.
And then it brings us to that screen. Number one was for fractions. Number 2 was for mixed numbers.
For mixed numbers?
Yeah. Okay, so I'm going to give y'all another problem that you can practice. Okay, we're going to do -2 and 3/4. Justice, are you writing this down? Justice? -2 and 3/4 plus 1 and 2/3. Okay.
I got this way wrong for some reason.
Thank you.
I got an 4/8/4/5. I made it mixed number.
So to do a mixed number, look. You do alpha, y equals, instead of being number one, where it says in the denominator, you can enter down one. And see if that happens in the next one, that's just to show that we're studying.
Hey, but that works.
Oh crap.
Yeah, actually, that was especially here.
Can you delete?
Yeah, the delete button is two over from the blue button.
Two over.
Okay.
Yeah, it also says insert.
Is that supposed to be a fraction? I just made it up, so maybe.
Yeah, I got a fraction. What you get? You negative 13 over 12. Yes. Yes, sir.
It's over here.
Yeah, a little bit. I think it's not for
Hey,
All
her
Miss Frisbee?
her AC is a little bit faulty. It shuts off when
Miss Frisbee?
Oh, Raven.
My cat has like a sticky trap stuck to his tail, so I have to go get it off really quick. I'll be right back.
like one of those spot lamps.
one of those fly traps, you know.
Okay,
They give it that thing from the ceiling.
on the ground.
Totally it.
all right, so we just typed in our mixed number. It was -2 and 3/4
We can't see your calculator.
plus, thank you, plus 1 and
I just cleared it all away.
I'm sorry.
I'm struggling here. Let me get over here.
I'm struggling with patience
I did
today.
it again.
Why is that in parentheses? Oh, okay, never mind.
He says in parentheses. I don't know, makes me
I'm
think
just
about
gonna-
everything, so every single
I'd rather do it on paper.
All right, so you get -13 over 12, and that's already in its simplest form, okay? And if the answer ever wants it converted into a decimal for some reason, the same way we converted something to a fraction, you just hit math, and instead of hitting enter when it's over fraction, you can just move down to a decimal. But it probably wouldn't want this one in a decimal, but you know. Okay, so that's just a quick little review over what we had to go over from the Edgelastic. So today we're going to start something new. We're going to move over. Overall, I feel like the review that we did Tuesday was helpful because y'all did pretty good on the Edgelastic, okay? Which again,
It
the
was.
majority of it, it was.
It
So
definitely was. Because I'd forgotten to do
I
that.
like-
yeah.
I feel like I've learned more in the past like 3 days of being here than the whole year.
Missing
You have third question, right?
I do.
We learned everything out of the book. Every single thing out of the book and Connor Cash.
Wow.
We will go through the book, but it's a little different. Okay, so solving equations. The first type of solving equations, so this is where I told y'all that this is where I saw the majority of people mess up on the pretest. And so we're going to take some time to talk about solving equations. That's where we're going to kind of camp out today. And whatever we get through is what we get through. And then we're going to do slope and graphing on not Tuesday, next week. Okay, so this is what we're going to be doing. The first half of class is multi-step equations.
So this is like the main thing that we missed on it.
It wasn't the main thing everyone missed on it, but it was where I saw that I needed to spend more time on other things.
This is my best
Justice, you don't need to be in the Zoom.
I'm not
easy
in.
thing to do.
It just said you were asked to be in the Zoom.
I didn't even go into. Boom.
Okay.
Instead of the first half.
Okay, do you have, I need you to have notes out, Justice. And if you can't handle having your Chromebook with all that other stuff on there, then then you're gonna have to do something else. All right, multi-step equations. We have negative 2x plus 10 equals 30. Okay, that's our first question. Okay, so when we are solving multi-step equations or solving equations in general, your goal is to get the variable by itself, okay? You want to isolate the variable, which is just a fancy word of saying get it by itself. So in order to do that,
I got you. Quarantine the
Thank you.
variable.
okay, yes, wonderful, Easton. We have to quarantine the variable. Okay, so in order to do that, all the numbers that are on the same side of the equal sign as the x that we're working with, we need to move to the other side, okay? So we move all of this other stuff over here so that that x stays by itself. But we can't just move it over there and tag it onto the end. We have to use inverse operations.
I think we started
Thank
learning
you.
this at the end, like when we were off quarantine.
Inverse operations, okay? So when I do inverse operations and when I'm isolating or quarantining my variable, I always start with the term, again, we're looking at one side of the equal sign. I always start with the term that's farthest away from my variable, okay? I'm not gonna deal with this -2 first because it's right next to my variable. I'm gonna start with this plus 10, okay? So in order to take this plus 10 and move it over here, we use its inverse operation. So what would be the inverse of plus 10? Subtract 10, okay? So what's gonna happen when we do that inverse operation? What an inverse operation does is it cancels it out, okay? If you take a positive 10 and you subtract 10, what do you end up with? 0, okay? But you can't just do it to one side because if I were to just take that 10 out and, get rid of it, I've changed my problem, okay? And we can't do that. So we have to move it to the other side, okay? So I also have to subtract 10 over here, okay? That keeps our equation balanced, or fancy word, equivalent. It keeps it the same. It's gonna look different, but it's gonna be the same equation. So we said positive 10 minus 10, what happens?
Cancels out.
They cancel out. What's left over here?
2x.
Negative 2x.
Okay, kind of the same thing.
Okay, now we have to simplify this other side. We have to combine the like terms. So what's 30 minus 10? 20. Okay, again, our goal, like I said from the beginning, is to get this x by itself. Is it by itself yet?
No.
No. Right now, I have -2 times x. So in order to get that -2 and put it on the other side of the equation, once again, I have to do its inverse. Not to be confused. Inverse is not to be confused with opposite. Inverse is the operation that will cancel it out. Opposite is changing a positive to a negative, or a negative to a positive, okay?
Inverse just needs a switch.
Okay, kinda. Now, if I have -2 times x, how am I gonna get rid of that -2? Divide it by -2, okay? We keep it negative. We don't put its opposite. Okay? If I do divided by -2 to one side, what do I have to do to the other side?
Same thing.
Same thing.
I definitely remember doing this.
Yeah, I
Good.
can't remember about
Hey,
they
it's
were
him.
right.
I remember because she just sent out the things with like 25 questions. It was the thing that you do,
Assessments or edge elastic?
assistance.
She
sent out like 3 of those now.
I
40.
feel like Michael Scott saying, no.
All right, so when we have a number divided by itself, what happens?
Cancels out.
It does cancel it out, but what would it equal? What's negative 2 divided by negative 2? 1. Okay? Any number divided by itself equals 1 every time. So that becomes 1.
Number times zero.
Every time.
Goes that number. Or zero.
You don't gotta put the one though, you can just put extra.
Right. But I didn't want y'all to be confused and think it would be 0, like, because the x is still going to be there. Okay, so it's 1x, but we don't have to put the 1. Okay?
So it's like a 1x.
So yes, it is. They are canceling each other out technically to where we're getting that variable more isolated. But up here, this inverse made it equal 0, so it completely got rid of it. This one just simplified it down to 1x, okay? But we don't have to show the 1. Yeah, just the x. So now we have 20 divided by negative 2, and that would be negative 10. Okay? And our goal was to get the x all by itself. Is it all by itself? Yes. Okay, so we solved it. You don't have anything else. X
Right,
equals
I need
negative
to-
10.
I need to learn like my negative stuff.
Negative rules.
Yeah. I gotta learn
Well,
that.
like negative and positive is negative, negative and negative is
That's what I need.
positive. Positive, positive.
Yeah.
That's what always made my homework wrong with the negative.
Yeah. The thing is I always knew the rules, but I always just double checked on my calculator until I was like 100% about the rules. Okay, I'm going to show y'all 3 more examples, and the rest of them I'm going to let y'all work together on. If I let you move closer, you will have to wear your masks.
How about we do Zoom?
Huh?
How about we do
No, because the
Zoom?
feedback is really loud and obnoxious. Okay, so this is number 3. Okay, it's the reason I'm labeling it number 3 is because that's what number it is on the worksheet thing I posted later on. Okay, so this is n divided by 3 minus 8 equals negative 2. Okay, each one I show you is going to have a different, something slightly different than what I showed you previously, so that you have at least one reference when you're doing it on your own. Okay, so first thing, our goal is to solve for our variable, to get it by itself. So in order to get this in by itself, I have to get rid of the divided by 3 and the minus 8. Okay, I do that by moving it over here using inverse operations. And I always start with a term that is
Great.
farthest away from my variable. Okay,
Or
yeah. So in this case, it's minus 8. Okay, it's the one that's farthest away on the same side of my equal sign.
yes.
So in this case, it's minus 8. So what is the inverse of minus 8?
Plus 26.
Plus 8.
Cancel out.
Okay, those cancel each other out. But if I do it to one side,
Gotta do it the other.
gotta do it to the other side.
Yeah, I know that.
Good.
Positive 6.
Okay. Wait, what is it?
Positive 6.
Good.
It's just like subtracting. I see that as like 8 minus 2.
So that's 6. Okay, now this is the part where a lot of people get flustered, but it's nothing different, okay? It's just knowing what the inverse of the operation is. So this is, we're trying to get this in by itself. So we have to get rid of the divided by 3. So what's the inverse of divided by 3? Multiply it by 3. So I like to show multiplication with parentheses. I think it's cleaner. And that's usually how they do it as you move up. Okay, so if I do times 3 on one side, I have to times 3 on the other side. What happens to my 3's when I do the inverse? They cancel each other out. What is left? N equals 18. Did I get my n all by itself?
Yes.
Do I have any more steps?
No.
Nope. Putting a box around it, last step.
Don't Don't be afraid, she's a thief.
Beast.
All right, number 5. I'm doing all the odds for some reason.
So we can just eat
There you go. All right, so you have negative x over 6
it. Negative x.
plus 12 equals negative 7. Okay, our goal, get the x by itself.
Yes.
So I start with the term that is farthest away. So I'm trying to get rid of this plus 12. How do I get rid of plus 12?
You subtract.
Subtract.
I subtract 12. If I do it to one side, I have to
Do the other.
do it to the other. Now, before anyone says anything, how would you type that into your calculator?
Subtract.
-7
Negative 7 minus 12. That is not negative 7 minus negative 12.
This would be, I thought the pin was your finger for a second. I'm scared.
Okay, so try to simplify that down and we'll start from there.
Minus 7. Or negative 7. Minus.
I don't know what I'm doing.
Yeah. I got it. Hey.
I'm just kidding.
Is that what, like,
I'm just a warrior.
I did it 5 years ago. Got it.
You were supposed to do it last year, you supposed to do it then.
after
I
three?
mean,
I've done this my last year too.
Yeah, but you need to find that, like, if it was a real one, it would include five. Because technically, we counted it as a class.
Okay, so we had positive 12 minus 12. What happened? They canceled. What's left on this side of my equal sign?
Or negative x over 6.
Negative x over 6
I think
equals
I got the answer.
negative 7 minus 12,
Negative.
negative 19.
Oh, dang it. Yeah, no.
Okay, now,
I'm so mad.
same thing. I'm teaching you more of the steps than I am just like the little math involved in it. But we're trying to get that x by itself. So I'm going to start with the term that's farthest away, which in this case is divided by 6. So what is the inverse of divided by 6? Multiply by 6. So I like to use parentheses. All right, so if I times 6, what do I do on the other side? Times 6. All right, what happens to my 6's over here? They cancel. What's left? Negative x. What's negative 19 times 6?
100, yeah, 114. Oh,
Negative.
negative 114.
Yep. Okay, now
Let's go in the calculator.
we remember our rules, okay?
And I did not use the.
We have to get the x by itself. Is it by itself?
Well, no, the negative still.
No,
there.
there's still a negative there. So we know that if there's not a number in front of our x, it's understood to be 1. So we still have to get rid of that negative 1, okay?
Okay.
So that's negative 1 times x. So how do we get rid of it? Divide by negative 1. If we do it to one side, we have to do it to the other side. What happens to my negative 1s?
Cancel out.
What's left?
X.
And then a negative divided by a negative is a
Positive.
positive, and anything divided by 1 is its self. Okay, so that's not bad. It's just knowing the inverses. If you know what operation you're working with, you just do its inverse. Okay, there's one more, and then I'm gonna let y'all do them on your own. Okay, with partners, yes. Okay, so this is number 7.
But can you do it on Zoom with your turn or?
I mean, if there's gonna be a person in Zoom, you can do it, but you'll do it with the people that are on Zoom. But you'll have to stay quiet so that we can all work. Okay, so last one.
Number
7, sorry.
Are we skipping? Because I swear I went from 1 to 3 to 5 to 7.
Yes.
We are?
Because I'm about to give you this worksheet here. It's on Google Classroom. And that way you'll know what numbers that you've done in.
I was confused.
Okay, so once again, our goal is to isolate the variable. We start with the term that's farthest away, and in this case, the term that's farthest away on the same side is the divided by 4. Okay, usually the divided by, like on down here, is combined with your x. Okay, but this one, I want to get rid of this divided by 4 before I deal with anything else. Okay, so if I want to move that divided by 4, I multiply by 4. Okay, if I do it to one side, do it to the other. That should be so embedded in your brain that you never forget it. And I will always repeat it because that's what my teacher did and I never forgot it. So what happens to my 4s over here? Cancel out, what's left?
C minus 5.
Equals
12.
12. Okay, now I want to get that C by itself, so I have to get rid of the minus 5. How do I get rid of minus 5? Add 5. If I do it to one side, do it to the other side. And it does equal 17. Correct.
Okay. I think
Are
I'm
we
ready.
doing any of these where we have to like distribute?
That will be the next section.
Just the right hand?
Okay, so now what you're doing, go to your Google Classroom. Can everyone on Zoom see my screen? All right, you're going to classwork. You're going to this week's date, September 31st through September 4th. Click on solving equations. And it's the first assignment. There's 2 because we're going to get to 2 today, but you're only going to do the first one.
Ashley, we keep your turn. I'll come to first.
All right, remember if you're working together or getting close, you have to wear your masks.
You want us to write this on paper?
Yes, copy these down on paper. And if you need help, raise your hand, ask me. If not, then, or I can come around and just check when you're finished. Kids in my breakout room. Yes, y'all can do it on your own. If y'all need any help, just ask me questions, okay? Yes.
Do you want me to send you a picture of the paper once I finish all the questions?
Sure. Or you can send me a private chat with your final answers. Would that be easier? Okay, I'm gonna mute myself so I don't bother you.
It would be easier with my phone because I can't take a picture with the camera on Zoom.
Oh, okay. I'm going to give everyone about 15 minutes to get this done. And if you don't get finished,
We did some even numbers, right?
you're doing all the even numbers and number 9. But you don't have to do 11. You don't have to do the last 3, like the word problems.
Yeah, I was looking right. Do you mind, Sarah, here, do you do it to this one or to this one?
Okay, so remember you start with the term farthest away.
Oh, okay,
So you
yeah,
start with that negative.
my bad.
I was right. Let's go.
So we don't have to do a 3-word problem.
plus
But we do have to do all the even. Do all even.
You start with the one furthest away from the.
Yes.
I did the same thing. So
Do what now?
You want
start
it to
with
be
14.
10 as well?
Minus
We
14.
do one and
We've
already done 1, 3, 5.
And then that cancels out.
Two,
And so you do plus 14 is 4.
4, 6, 8.
And that's 17.
No, plus 14 is 4.
Okay, I'm using a different paper. I'm
Just
ready
rewrite it.
pencil.
Rewrite.
I'm using pencil. I get too stressed out sometimes.
Easton, would you like a chair?
A what?
A chair.
Chair.
Negative 2 and.
No.
Remember where we got them? I cleaned this.
We're doing all even.
Good job, boys.
Thank you, Chris.
All right, then.
So we're 18.
4.
Okay. So yep, 14, 4,
14 equals 3.
subtract 5. 8.
Yes, backward.
Oh my gosh.
14 minus
18 equals 3. You're still trying to get the variable?
3.
Okay. We got it divided. Wait. Yeah. No.
No.
Subtract it.
Minus 4.
And that leaves us
Yeah.
a 15.
Eight equals 15.
Look at us go. Here, elbow. Give me elbow. Negative 0.3. Okay, now
So now
on the
how
floor.
we right there. So yeah, 4 equals. Now, or you do the one like
So furthest away from the equal sign is 5.
Yes, so we have to subtract 5.
Minus 5.
14 is the farthest one.
5 over here. Negative plus
So they cancel each other out. Plus 14.
So now, you do, I have to do it fast because that's how my mind is. Like, wait,
So now we
Get out.
So that's going to be negative.
I know.
Is it gonna be negative x equals negative 6? We're doing so good.
Is number 5 a fraction or
Say it again.
Okay.
is number 5 a fraction or a division?
Number 5. We did number 5 together. It was this.
Oh yeah, sorry, I'm dumb.
Good. I'll put it back up here so you can see the whole problem. So you can see maybe where you,
Sorry, man.
See if we can. See if we can find it, like, similar to that. Wait, it says 2 over 3.
there you go.
Is that right? On number 6, how it's like 2/3, 2 over 3.
Yeah, so that's 2/3 times 10. So to get rid of it, you divide it by
So
2.
can I say parentheses around that?
But always start with the term farthest from your end first.
The first one is.
Okay.
Furthest from the variable?
So minus 5.
For on the same side. So I always start with B so I can get the variable as much by itself first. Because if you do divide by 2/3, you also have to divide this by 2/3 and so I don't like doing that. So I like to get rid of 6 so that I only have 5 back.
And we have to do it to go one.
Okay, so now you do
I thought it was
negative.
furthest away from the equal sign.
No, wait, we're done.
Do what?
It's a division, so X divided by 4.
And how would you type that in your calculator? What does that say?
Negative 12 over 6. I'm gonna check that because I just
Okay,
didn't
you
know
can check
it.
that.
1 minus 5.
Here's a little tip for you when you have, since that's negative 12 minus 6, I always like to change it to actually and then add a negative, so it's negative plus a negative.
So now we need to get rid of
Negative plus
It's
negative.
negative 18.
Neither, that works. Division.
So there we have 2/3
Yeah.
is,
So then you divide by 2/3. Right?
I believe you would. No, you got, you multiply the 30.
Multiply it.
No, negative four.
There, 4 times 4. There, 16. So, x equals negative 16.
Okay. So I'll get the.
Yeah, do that.
So that cancels out, so right now we have to. So I got in parentheses.
Number 2,
18.
so number 2 is x equals 6.
Negative 18.
X equals
Yeah, good.
there.
Make sure you show your work, sweetie. Oh, you're trying on that.
Yeah, I'm doing all the work on it.
So to get rid of that, that's 2/3 times 3, so to do the inverse, we could do
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
It's supposed to be a break.
So here's an easy way to drop that. Just use your arrow.
So, yeah, let's just get double this.
So it was.
All right, so we're now on number 6,
divided by
right?
2/3.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was horrible.
It's equal negative.
M plus 6 equals the first
You got
one
that?
would be,
Yeah.
or the
Or 2/3 multiplied into the.
No, I can see. Eight.
oh, no, they didn't. Look, what? Look,
Okay,
look at the other.
number 8 is
It's just,
b plus 1 over 3.
yeah,
Okay, number 9.
I think it's a division. I think it's a division. Yeah, Ms. Christie, what do we do on number 6? That's 2/3 L plus 2 plus 6. Doesn't look like.
Multiply anything, since it's not like.
You can do it like 2/3 times, instead of doing the inverse of 5.
Okay.
Yeah. But Bill is plus 6.
Yeah, that's what we're doing. Plus
Yeah, I would have still
and
used
6.
it on that.
That out.
Uh-huh.
Do it as well. So, yeah, well, minus 6.
Furthest away.
So I make that positive.
This is just like number 7 that we did.
So
I remember doing one like that.
Plus 6.
So
Which
you
is
multiply by 3.
There we
Multiply
go.
by 3 on each side.
2/3 L equals 18.
Now,
Uh-huh.
divide by 3.
Divide by 12.
So what did you say,
Then
12?
you have
2
minus 6
L.
plus 1 equals
Yeah,
6.
12, negative 12 minus 6.
Yeah.
So did you say what?
I said that.
Okay, east,
Oh.
east. Oh, goodness.
Equals 5.
Sorry.
There.
We're done.
We're done.
Y'all do all through number
Let's
10?
just
Now we
cancel
have
out
to-
9.
Y'all do 9 and 10?
Oh, and 10, I just like, kind of like.
Yeah, it's 2, 4, 6, 8, 9, and 10.
2/3.
Okay,
Okay,
All right, so
I'm
what
sorry.
am I getting?
My brain-
Well, what do we
that's-
want?
Okay, so we're done, wait, no,
No, we have number 9 to do.
2/3
wait, 9 and 10?
multiplied times 2/3.
I'm sorry, Jen.
Chris, do we just do 9
So,
or 9
yeah,
and
we can put that out.
9 and 10. 9 and 10 is a combination of all the ones we just did.
Over.
Oh, dang, so you got it. So what are you gonna
Sorry,
start with
over,
number 9?
all right?
5 plus
That's
13
We gotta write it down first. Okay.
plus 2.
2 over 3 equals.
So when we,
Yeah,
okay, so you have this.
It'd be, it'd be multiply by 12.
Yeah.
Multiply this by 12.
And
No?
Farthest away from
I
the.
got
It's a 2, you got it, minus the 3, I mean
X
2,
equals
minus the 2,
36
yeah.
Over 3.
2 plus
Yeah.
12.
No,
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 from the other side of the equal sign.
And what? This?
But yeah.
Oh, wait, yeah, I'm
Equals
done.
negative 36 over
And then you multiply that by 12.
Right, well, we might wanna make sure we're right about
You
that.
seem like you're getting so far ahead of me.
Now let's go. Equals negative 36 over 3.
So everything on the numerator is left. R plus 15 is
I got
Okay.
R equals -1.
left. Okay, keep
Oh,
going.
thanks.
You're doing it right, so bring down what's left.
We need to be sure we're right on this one. I like it. Mr. Frisbee?
But then like that's just gonna be like.
No, wait, start with the, we're getting rid of the stuff on the same side of the.
You're supposed to, you're trying to get that variable, 14, remember?
Okay, so it's R plus 13. We want that R by itself, so that'll get rid of plus 13.
So then you have to multiply like that.
My bad.
And the next one's just like that.
You just work on faster. Is that right?
Oh,
I don't know, I'm a little messed up. That's like honestly.
I'm just gonna do it myself.
Oh my gosh, Jason, you're so mean.
No, I'm not.
Yes, you are. You're getting the wrong answers for history.
Hey.
I'll give you the right
No,
answer.
no.
Did not.
2/3.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, so. plus
That's
seven,
not negative
3 plus 7.
36 over 3. Negative 36 over 3.
Oh, you know, calculate.
2 minus 7 is -5, right?
18 times negative 18 times 3.
Let's check the dictionary.
Yeah, you do that.
36.
Because 4 times 4, I don't know. Negative 2 minus.
Just 2 minus 7.
Why are you doing my gosh, James, you just like, why do you everything done so fast?
Uh-huh.
Are you?
Yeah, 18 times 2.
But isn't this stuff like kind of fun once you get the,
Once you know all that, how to do all
Did
this
you
stuff.
put negative 2 minus 7?
Yes, that's what it is.
Are you sure?
It's
Yeah.
like-
Uh-huh.
Oh, I didn't see it. Okay.
Maybe if you wouldn't work so fast, you would get it.
Hey. Okay. Minus 7. Minus. Equals what? -9?
After we.
Right then.
Think, let me check how much time you'll have left.
2 minutes. Do y'all want to go ahead and get your phones out? Y'all can start your break earlier.
-9 times 3. Can you do that?
Well, we're at 8. Yay, 3 plus 1 over 3 plus 12. 22.
Yeah, Verizon or anything. Really?
What's 8? -8.
It's like some
All right,
places,
so-
It'll be 15, 16, 17.
Oh, yeah, yeah, we want to play it.
3. -3.
It's a lot better to turn your Wi-Fi off.
I think.
Snaps are
not loaded.
Good for you, Al.
B
I have to
plus
take my-
6 equals
So you
2.
got negative 4.
I got -2.
Wait,
B plus 6.
what's Gracie's last name?
Wyman.
Yeah.
Chris,
Is
you
it-
did it.
Is the number 10 -3? Do you remember? Because I might have done -18 minus 15 wrong. Is -18 minus 15 -3?
So plus
No,
it.
it's negative 46.
Minus 1.
42.
No, minus
Or something.
the 6 is what it equals. Look, I'm gonna go up to our note.
No,
Three.
not 2, not
No.
2, 6. Minus 6.
Negative 9 times 3 is 27. You did negative 9 times
They
3.
brought those here, dude.
Miss Frisbee?
No, you did that. Remember? You said -1. And you said 18.
Just 6.
I said it in
Negative
calculus.
I was thinking,
So it's negative 27.
And the offset is minus 6.
Miss Frisbee?
Okay, and remember, when you bring that A down, it's negative A. So
The
you're
B
gonna
plus
plus
6. Oh, well, not B plus 6, no. B plus.
I thought I was going to ace this one.
Miss Frisbee?
That's negative
One
A.
for B equals.
Yes, ma'am.
Number 6 is messing with me. Is 2 over 3 supposed to be divided, or is it supposed to be a fraction?
Okay, so it's, can you see this? So that's 2/3 times M. So in order to get rid of the 2/3, you would divide it by 2/3. So once you subtracted the 6 over here, it would be whatever that answer was divided by 2/3.
Well, I did that, and then I tried to work the problem out, and it didn't make sense.
Okay, I'll work that one together with y'all. All right, everyone go back to your seat. I'm gonna go over these I'm gonna put the answers up here for you to check.
Do you have Justice Taylor?
I do.
I need him to come to the counseling office,
All righty, he's on his way.
and thank you.
Okay, so everyone, get this out. This is what I want you to do, and this is what, and also what I don't want you to do. I'm gonna put the answers up here. I want you to check and see if you got it right. I want you to write the correct answer. And then if there's still time after you've done those two things, I want you to look at the work and see if you did it correctly, if you missed it. What I do not want you to do is take time trying to copy down all of the work that it shows, all the steps. Just put the correct answer for now, and you can try to see maybe where you messed up later. All right, bye, sweetie. So I'm just gonna put
I feel like such a mean person.
I sit here.
he's
watch.
sweet. He's sweet. He just.
Watch until the door closes.
Okay. Check your answers. Do write the correct answer. Do check. Don't spend time writing all these steps down. Okay, give me a thumbs up when you've checked your answers. Give me a thumbs up when you've checked your
Oh,
answers.
crap. Oh, yeah, I already got
Perfect. Next, 6 and 8.
Why did I miss?
Wrong.
6 and negative 16. I thought y'all checked. Right, let me see, which one?
Number 2.
I got 15.
Y'all subtracted 3 and so divided by 3.
Oh, okay.
So right here, it's 3 times A, so you divide it by 3. Y'all subtracted 3.
No, that was a joke. You see it.
Okay, next we have 6 and 8. 6 is negative 27. 8 is 5.
Was negative 6 or 6 on number 2?
6.
Okay, thank you.
Okay? All right, if you have questions, we can come back to those because we definitely have time in this class. All right, Zoom people, did y'all get those? Felicity, did you get those? I can't see your face.
Are those cashews?
Yeah, cashews are so good. Cashews are good.
My dad said he's a legislator.
All right, here's 9 and 10. R is negative 1, A is 42.
I told you it was 42.
Okay,
I didn't make it.
I'm not even gonna correct myself because I knew it was 42. He's like, no, it's 41.
That was negative 41.
we're gonna do,
I didn't get the answers. 9 and 10.
Again?
I'm gonna bring it every day.
all right, we're gonna do a quick 5-minute break and then we'll come back and I'll let y'all know when we're back. Okay, y'all can have your phones during this time. And when we come back, I'll go over the number 6 and number 10 because that seemed to be the one y'all had the most trouble with.
Did y'all see that one confessions Instagram?
Yeah, that's toxic.
Who?
They're like calling everyone who's in the high school. It's called like West Side's Confessions.
Mr.
And it's like, this is gonna be Gossip Girl all over
We
again.
went to Walmart yesterday,
Mm-hmm.
and then there was a white van that looked creepy. It was creepy.
There was like
Walmart's so
a chocolate van I had.
You should have gone and said hi.
Hey, Ethan, do you have anything else in there?
It was all scratched up and all that, and then the mirrors were taped up, and yeah.
Don't go near that.
Yeah.
Oh, there's hot hands in it.
Did you see the door style?
From last year.
Probably.
That's
Remember, it's so
definitely
And
low.
I had my $100.
It's like, I like it during
Oh.
fall whenever it's like cold and like a little bit of warm at the same time. Because like in summer, it's too hot. Like whenever you have a floor, go to the beach, it's more fun. But like in winter, it's just freezing. I like that little in between. But then I don't like getting sick.
People always say shoes are ugly.
Which shoes?
just. I love it. My practices, what is I have? Is a playground for $30.
What is?
I'm getting my new shoes. Are you going to Hibbits? Yeah. Same. Yeah.
Where do y'all go to
I've
Hibbett's
never
at?
spent
I
that
would
much
like-
money.
Is the Hibbett's in the mall open?
This I won't.
No,
Oh, the mall's
There's
gone.
like a Hibbett's
I
at
forgot there was a Hibbett's there.
There's like a
It's right by my
Hibbett's at
house.
Straight Mall.
Yeah, and,
Straight mall. My bad. Not Straight Mall.
Our mall needs to open back up.
it's just for practice.
I want to learn how to make like those little like crystallized rock candy things.
Really
And I could like
actually
sell them
want.
at football games.
Yeah, I just do that.
I don't know if they would let you sell homemade candy.
Yeah, probably not.
Not with the COVID.
Well,
COVID. Just gonna cough on you. Oh,
that's what happened here.
they eat. So you got anything else other than turkey in there?
Nope.
You got turkey in your bag?
And it's like,
It's just sitting there.
Frisbee, you should get me in the front of the line.
I'm just going in there to get some tea today. Cause Homer got you off.
We're just eating
You
now.
can just give me your
I
tray.
got chicken.
We're just eating.
What is for lunch today?
I know.
Food.
I'm gonna
Ravioli casserole.
Beefy cheese macaroni.
Ugh. I might just start bringing my lunch every day.
They was good last week. They didn't hold back. Every day was good. They had chicken the first week of school. They had chicken noodles.
First
they
day
had
was like
um,
something-
chicken nuggets.
Frisbee, do you have a lunch bowl in here?
No, I already breathed through my lunch bowls.
I'm just gonna start living off of gum.
Oh, can I have these?
Yeah, your gum is so good.
You got the good,
It's
that
always
good.
better when somebody else eats.
It might be like a little mush.
It's always better when
no
it's
problem with it.
In Miss Watson's class, there's a table that has gum under it, and I touched it, and it's disgusting. Actually,
Oh no.
hit me, deep.
Okay.
Wait.
I'm trying to find my other pack.
What was that? Did you see that?
What?
That thing like, I guess it was dented, and it popped, and I had my face right here, and water just sprayed all over myself. The cup just played me, dog. I'm done trying to get it.
You want everything?
You can make it from there, it's not gonna fly apart. This is
I like something good. I can do that. No, fine.
You're talking like this, you go, oops, I unplugged it. Who's
Oh, darn it. Oh,
gonna make that?
nope. You can't make anything.
Hey, actually, you think I can make it?
More than these. No, no, not. Okay, stop that.
Not
Yeah,
say
you
that.
unplug my Chromebook.
No.
Thank you.
Yeah, I just feel so comfortable. Yeah, I'm right here, with a little voice in the background.
Hey. Who asked?
Hey, we're not.
You really want to test me today? Yeah.
Ow!
Calm down.
Miss Frisbee, I'm gonna sue
It was
her.
really good when we worked in groups though.
Go ahead, sue me. I have that crow as a witness.
I've been waiting for him to calm down for the past 4 years. Since he moved here in 4th grade,
We've been waiting
I've
for
been waiting.
I remember him moving here in 3rd grade, and I was like,
Oh
Wow.
my gosh, Easton.
Here we
I
go.
remember when we were little, and like, you were just like texting me one day, and you were like, oh my gosh, Justice Taylor just annoys the living crap out of me. I don't want.
I had like 4 classes with him.
And you're like, I don't even know what to do about him anymore. And then
We're back.
Easton, I just got back from church, and like we studied patience today. Maybe you should start having some patience. I remember that.
No. There's no patience with Justice Taylor. Imagine he's just standing outside the door, like listening to every single word we're saying.
Oh my gosh, he is.
No, you're not.
God, Frisbee, you're fun with me.
Okay, so here is number 6. We're gonna review over 6 and 10 before we move on to the next thing. Okay, just so we make sure that we know what to do when we're presented with different problems. Okay. So we're trying to solve for m. So we want to get it by itself. It's making my throat cold. Okay, so we start with the term that's farthest away. So I'm going to deal with this plus 6. So how am I going to get rid of plus 6? Minus 6. Subtract 6. All right, positive 6 minus 6, what happens? They cancel. All right, I'm left with
2/3 times n, or n.
okay, and then over here I have negative 12 minus 6.
-18.
Negative 18. Okay, so this is where a lot of y'all got confused. So there are multiple ways you could do this part, and I'll show you both ways. It just all depends on how you saw the fraction. So if you wanted to look at it like this, that was another way you could see it. 2m divided by 3. Okay, we'll look at that way in a second. Okay, I want you to really watch both ways, and the way that makes the most sense to you, just do it like that. That's why I'm teaching you the process, because this process works every single time. Okay, so it's 2/3 times m. So if it's 2/3 times m, what would be the inverse of times 2/3?
Divide.
Divide by 2/3, right?
Mhm.
Okay, if I did it to one side, I would have to do it to the other side. Okay, what happens to my 2/3?
Cancel out.
Cancels out. What's left?
The m.
N.
M equals negative 18 divided by 2/3, which is,
Negative
Going into the
27.
calculator.
it's going into the calculator, but we know it's negative 27.
Yeah, I did.
Okay, so the other way you could look at it is this way right here. Okay, you see it as two different parts. Okay, so the first thing I see is I'm still trying to get this m by itself. So I'm going to start with the term that's farthest away from it, which is the divided by 3. So how do I get rid of divided by 3?
Times by 3.
I times it by 3. And if I do that to one side, I have to do it to the other side. What happens to my 3's? They cancel.
Oh, yeah.
Is this just like another way you can do it?
Uh-huh.
Okay.
Yeah, if this one makes as much sense to you, then you can do
Because
it.
that's what I started doing at the beginning, but like,
Okay, so watch this, and if it makes sense, you can do this option as well. Okay, so what's left over here? 2m. Negative 18 times 3 is negative 54. Okay?
do that there. Yeah, I think that's why I did mine.
Yeah, it is.
Uh-huh.
Okay? So now we have just one step left because we're still trying to get that m by itself. So that's 2 times m. So how do we get rid of times 2?
Divide it.
Divide it by 2. If I do it to one side,
Gotta
Do it to
do it to the other.
okay? 2 divided by 2, what happens?
Cancel.
What's left?
N.
Yeah.
L.
Negative 54 divided by negative 54 divided by positive 2 is
-27.
negative 27. Just because we do it a different way, we should, if we follow all the right procedures, you should get the same answer.
Okay, like what I was trying to do is I always try like to divide the number like at the beginning whenever I think I was trying to do it that way. I was trying to divide 18 by 2/3 instead of doing just a zero.
You can do that.
Yeah, I just did it like
You're thinking of it differently.
yeah.
Yeah. So those are,
Movie Canada.
huh?
I want to go to Bangor. What is up with
Oh, too.
everybody saying that? I've heard like 6 people say they're going to Canada.
Biden's
Because-
winning the popular vote
Because
right now.
nobody wants to live
Biden's
in a,
winning the popular vote right now. Yeah.
Seriously?
54% in 4 years.
That
52. Right? 54 or 48.
I don't.
52.
All right, this is the other one that a lot of people kind of struggled with. So one more and we're going to move on. So we have 15 minus a divided by 3 plus 7 equals negative 2. Okay, so same stuff. Trying to solve for a, start with my term that's farthest away. How do I cancel out my plus 7? Subtract 7. If I do it to one side, got to do it to the other side. All right, what do I have left over here? What do I have left over here?
Oh, yeah, that.
15 minus a divided by 3 equals -2 minus 7.
Oh, that's
Good question.
-9.
-9.
So I could both just have, so it looks like -2, -7. It's,
I always change my subtraction to a plus and I add a negative. That's how I learned it. I don't know. There's probably newer, better ways, but that's just how I did it. Okay, so start with the term that's farthest from my variable that I'm trying to get rid of. I'm trying to get rid of divided by 3. How do I get rid of it?
times by 3.
Times it by 3. If I do it to one side, okay, what happens to my 3's over here?
Cancel out 10.
What do I have left on this side?
Minus 8.
All right, does all of my Zoom people, Felicity, I need you to turn your camera on if you can, just so I can see if you're understanding it. Oh, wait, there's a chat. Okay. Okay, so again, our goal is to get this A by itself, so we need to get rid of this 15. So how do I get rid of, now, there's not a sign in front of it, so it's positive 15, so we have to subtract 15. Now we have to do it to the other side of my equal sign. Hi, Maddie.
Hi, Maddie.
I'm so scared for a little
I
bit.
thought that was justice.
You're right. You hear that? Exactly.
All right, positive 15 minus 15, what happens?
Cancel out.
They cancel out. What's left?
A. Negative A.
Negative A. Negative 27 minus 15.
Negative 42.
Okay, remember, our goal is to get the variable by itself. Is it by itself?
No.
How do I get rid of that negative?
-1.
Divide it by -1. If I do it to one side, got to do it to the other side. These cancel, and A equals 42.
I think Nina needs to. Nina needs to like try to subtract it instead of dividing it.
Yeah, you have to know that that's -1 times A. So you divide it.
Miss Christie,
Yes,
that's
ma'am.
kind of different. Instead of minusing 15, I just added it so I didn't have to do the 1 in the end.
Did you get?
I got 48 positive, 42 positive.
That is the one.
Okay, did you send me a picture of it already?
Mhm.
Okay, I'll look and see how you did it to make sure that that will work every time.
Okay.
Awesome. Okay, so go ahead and add on to your notes. We're going on to the next part. So now we're going to be talking about solving with variables on both sides.
Oh goodness, this is gonna be a little tough.
It's going to be one extra step. Everything else is the exact same. So you're still going to get more practice with what we just did. There's just one more step added onto it. But we can do it. We just monstered through that. We're going to do it with this part too.
What else
Okay.
is called where like you feel it in that?
Cuticles.
It hurts.
Yeah, I
Your
did
cuticles?
one.
And now
it
you're
went
bleeding?
A lot farther than I thought it would. Oh yeah.
That's the worst. Okay, so here's your problem. 8 plus 5x equals 7x minus 2.
That's a lot.
Okay, get that copied down. Okay. Okay, so now this looks a little bit different than what you're used to because you're used to only having one variable on one side of your equation. So the initial step on this one, your goal is still the same. Your goal is still to solve for x or whatever your variable is. But in order to do that, you have to do another step first. So add a little note. we are going to combine like terms. Okay, so I always like to combine my x's first because once you combine your x's, then it's going to look like the problems you're used to seeing. Okay, so the good thing about it is rewind. So to combine your x's together, you do it by putting all your variables on one side of your equation and putting all of the numbers on the other side of the equation. And the good thing about that is it doesn't matter which side you move them to. Okay, so I'll let y'all tell me what to do just to show you it doesn't matter. Do we want to take this 5x? Everyone look up here. Do we want to take this x and move it to the right? Or do we want to take this x and move it to the left? We want to move it to the left. Okay, so we're going to take this 7x and we're going to move it to the left. So we're going to take it and combine it with the 5x. So if I'm going to take a positive 7x and move it over here, how do I do that? I have to subtract it. I have to do its inverse like we just talked about. So I have a positive 7x. I'm going to subtract 7x. And I'm going to write it right below the term I'm trying to cancel out. Now, when I move it to the other side, which term am I going to write it underneath? Why am I going to write it underneath the 5x? It has the same, it's the same term, okay? You don't want to put it with the 8 because you can't combine those. Okay, so we're just going to put minus 7x.
It doesn't matter which side you choose to go through.
Correct. I could have started by subtracting 5x. Okay, so what happens to my 7s?
Cancel out.
They cancel. Okay, what do I have over here now? Did I do anything to my 8?
No.
Nope. What is a positive 5 minus 7?
-2.
Negative 2x. Okay, you could put plus negative 2x, but I just like to keep it simple. All right, and then what's left on my other side?
-2.
Negative 2. Okay, so now it looks just like the other problems we did. We're solving for x. Okay, so I start with my term that's farthest away, which is what? 8. It's a positive 8, so how do I get rid of it? Subtract.
Cancel.
Okay, if I do it to one side,
Got to the other.
got to do it to the other side.
That would be -10, right?
Yes, ma'am. All right, what's left on this side of my equal sign? Negative 2x. And we said negative 2 minus 8 was what? Negative 10. Okay, so are we done? No, the x is still not by itself. So that's negative 2 times x. How do I get rid of that negative 2?
No, you plus 2. Plus 2.
Divide by negative 2.
So wait, if this is a rise,
Because because it's combined with the x, it's negative 2 times.
But that makes x, that would still just be x, not negative x.
Correct.
Yeah, if you had like a normal equation, like and x is like 5, and it was a product 2, it would just be like 10.
If x equaled,
Like if you know, like if you have like a cube or something, it's like x is 5.
Yeah.
And then if 2 is just x, it'd be like 2 times 5.
okay, so those cancel. X equals negative 10 divided by negative 2.
It's positive 5.
Positive 5.
Okay, let's go. Let's go.
Killing it. All right, I have one more that I want to show you just because I don't want you to be overwhelmed when you get to it. Because we're not scared of fractions anymore, but sometimes we may be a little intimidated by them.
Oh, that's a fraction.
Okay,
But Frisbee has helped us understand, guys. Come on,
Right.
let's give her a round of applause.
all right, so we have 1/2 minus 5/8 x equals 7/8 x plus 7/2. Okay, once again, we are going to combine like terms, just like we did on the other one. This time, I'm going to show you how to take your x and move it over to the right side.
I told her we weren't touching the board.
Andrew, what line did you go in?
I went in the, Hey, wedges, justice.
I do like potato wedges. All right, here we go.
It sounds good.
So last time we took our x from the right and we moved it to the left. I'm going to show you that we'll still be able to solve it if we do it the opposite way. Okay, so our first step when we have variables on both sides is to do what? Combine like terms. And in this case, we won't be subtracting because we're taking this and we're moving it to the other side. So how do we take a minus 5/8 x and move it to the other side? We add it.
Good job, Alex.
Yeah. I just paid that.
And then you cancel it on the left side.
Okay, what's left on this side?
X. Half minus X.
Nope, the x is canceled. Okay, so it's just 1/2
Wait, what? How's the X? Oh.
because we did 5/8 x.
But I'm on. Never mind.
Okay, now we have to simplify this side. The good thing about it is these fractions, since we're adding them and they have a common denominator, we don't necessarily have to plug them into our calculator. Okay, we can do this part in our heads. Okay, so if they have a common denominator, what do?
Fine.
It already has a common denominator, so we just add the numerators. So what's 7 plus 5?
12.
And then we keep the same denominator. Now, and then we bring down the 7/2. If you wanted to,
Wait, that's not simplified, is it?
it is not simplified. You don't have to simplify. You can if you want to, but you don't have to
I'm
right
sorry, I
now.
was trying to know, like, how did you get 12x to do?
Now, so are you asking me or did you say you were thinking that?
No, like, how?
Okay, so I added the 5/8 here. So when we're adding fractions and they have the same denominator, we just have to add the numerators.
Okay. My
So
bad.
7, no, you're good. Now, if you wanted to, and I definitely would have if I had a calculator, I could quickly do it. Type that into your calculator. If you don't know for sure, just, you have a calculator, use it. Okay? Now it looks just like the other ones we had. We are trying to get our x by itself. So we start with the term that's furthest away. So how do I get rid of a plus 7/2? Minus 7/2. If I do it to one side, I do it to the other side. Okay? So those cancel each other out. Now, just the same, we have a common denominator. So if we wanted to, we could do this part in our heads, okay? But if you wanted to use a calculator, you could. But we don't need to. What's 1 minus 7? -6 over what? 2. And that equals, what do we have left over here?
12/8.
12/8x. Now, if you wanted to simplify this, this would make this next part really easy. What's -6 divided by 2? What would this simplify down to? 12 divided by 8.
Wait, no, sorry, I was like,
It'll still be a fraction.
I'm sorry, I like, did what the last one a little bit.
3/2.
Yeah, I know.
3/2, which is 1.5, if you wanted to keep it as a decimal. Okay, so sometimes decimals are easier.
But that is the 1.5.
Yeah.
I like to put the half, because even though it's fractions.
All right, so there's a decimal with our x, that's 1.5 times x. So how are we going to get rid of 1.5? Divide it by 1.5. If I do it to one side, I have to do it to the other. They cancel out, and x equals -3 divided by 1.5 is -2.
That's like where I need my calculator the whole time on.
Okay. Now, before you get started, because y'all have about 5 minutes left to do this, I want you to look at something really quickly. All right, on number 3 and number 4, you're given problems that start like this, where you have a number on the outside of a parentheses. What did we talk about last time y'all were in here? We learned a new way. When you had a number on the outside of a parentheses, what do you have to do to it?
Go in.
You
just like
distribute
just
it.
did.
Okay, so that would be your first step. Okay, so you have to do 6 times -3 and 6 times a +1. 5 times a -2x, 5 times a -2. Okay, so you're doing 2, 3, 4, and 5. And you're only gonna have about 5 minutes to do it before we have to clean up. So try to get as many of those done.
Wait, which page are
It's on the next page in Google Classroom. So
we? So like student manuals, like
yeah, so when you're in that thing, it's the second PDF that was in there.
so just 2 and 4.
2, 3, 4, and 5. It's always a pleasure, JJ. Huh? We have 5 minutes to do it in class. And we're gonna start with it on Tuesday.
I'm not really sure. Try to get one done.
If you can get one done, I'll be happy. Labor Day.
So we skip this minute?
Yeah.
That'd be
My dad was
this,
giving me a hard time the other day.
I was gonna go to the front, but I know I gotta go to my. No, I still am, but I'm doing it after we my public plan. It's a sunflower purple, so it should be kind of stacked. Ours is, yeah.
Oh, for what do you think about that last night? What is that? That's what I was gonna say, Kevin.
And then Monday, we're going.
Y'all need to message Kevin, it's his birthday.
Today's his birthday?
Kevin, not my Kevin, Kevin.
Oh,
But-
hold on, like,
Yeah, okay, we're going on the early skills.
Who I sent.
The what? The early.
Because I told him I was always done with the food.
Yeah, I can't wait. Never know. Really?
Stuttering over the stuttering.
I've never been there.
What? Not there.
Should we do this? Should we do this? Should we go here? No answer.
I've been everything else to go.
Oh,
Which one do we do?
Huh?
Which one do we do?
2, 3, 4, and 5. We did 1 and 6 together.
And go what? Go.
But the whole band makes me feel more energized.
There's gum on the bottom of the seat. I'm just touched
I did that yesterday in biology, that Georgia, they pulled out, she goes, look, there's a Georgia, and I stuck my hand in the closet, there's this big wad of gum. No, absolutely not.
Tea time.
Hey, Mr. Z, you can do that fast.
Who's G? Who? G? Huh?
Also, happy birthday.
I'm very bored by this. So we're already
Oh, oh, that's good.
What's a positive times a negative? A what? Through what's positive times a negative?
No, it's not.
A negative.
grade 16. Better than school.
I love this
It wasn't
stuff,
better
actually,
than
it's so much better than geometry. You want to look
Lexi.
Hey,
Did your cousins like it last night?
they did.
I made the 16.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. It's fine.
For some reason I'm thinking it's 2, but I know it's not.
What's that?
Give me elbow.
The timer's set for a minute, 30 seconds.
That's one of
Yeah, so you got it.
I don't know why I'm thinking that it's table short.
Well, Caleb was always finding last night in the van, and it said, you have 64 unopened assignments.
Oh, I thought that was a -7.
No, I told you it's a positive.
Equals
7.
I know, I don't know what I was thinking. Okay.
Keep slow.
That was the phrase.
He was racing this weekend.
Hey, remember, you know how why is here today? Is it calculating?
get rid of the number of the variable.
Everything else, yeah.
That's why I'm asking that question of where I.
You wrote on the back of the boat, like that.
True.
My aunt when she came over, I made just wrote on the back of the boat. Just wrote on the back of the boat.
No one ever answered my
Look up at well.
Or someone who was a beach.
No, I'm just writing down.
Yay.
Yeah, I'm gonna do Need to write them down, take pictures.
You took your phone already.
All right, Zoom people, we are done for the day. We're gonna start cleaning up. We're gonna start back with this one on Tuesday when we're back. We won't have class on Monday because of Labor Day. Okay, bye guys.